Welcome back to Learn Astrology with Mary. My name's Mary English, and we have a special guest today. We've got Jasmina, who is based in Canada. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Jasmina. So she trained with Steve Judd. She then did more training with Uranian astrologer Matt. She's also a student at Frank Clifford's London School of Astrology programme. She's a member of OPAR, the Organisation of Professional Astrologers, and her local organisation, Astrology Niagara. She also has her own YouTube channel and a very active Instagram account where she does daily updates. So welcome, Jasmina. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. We have some questions for you. How are you first?
Thank you, Mary. I'm so happy to be here. I love your work and thank you for being guest on my channel as well. I love your insights and everything. I'm feeling pretty good. We are in midst of eclipse season, so it's intense, but we are surviving.
Yeah. And Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde.
Yes. And Neptune going to Aries and many, many things.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Well, and you're a Gemini, though, yes?
Yes, I have a Gemini sun and moon and a Virgo rising. So very mercurial.
Oh, blimey. Are you affected by the Mercury retrogrades?
Oh, yes, that's why we couldn't have this on other platform.
I was born during one, so I'm sort of used to it. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now, we've had a question from a listener.
Hmm.
So she said, I'm wondering if you've made a podcast episode on nodal oppositions before and what could this mean? I know it's quite fated and potentially it's a prelude to my Saturn return happening next year. It would be interesting to hear about nodal returns too. And I don't think I have one of those for a while, but it would be fitting with the current eclipses. Now, you'd said to me, Jasmina, that you just had a nodal return. Is that right? So if you can explain a little
Reversal.
bit your first
It's a,
one,
no, it's a reversal. Okay, I'll
reverse.
explain.
Okay,
Yes,
go.
yes. Go. So, what are nodal lunar nodes? They are kind of I'm going to put it very basically. When sun and moon meet on the eclipse of Earth. So Earth is going around the sun, moon is going around the Earth, and when the sun and moon kind of meet somewhere, this
Mhm,
is where we have the nodes, and that's why they're very fated. We have two luminaries. We have sun, like who is our core identity, who we are, and our moon, our needs, our emotional security and safety. They kind of meet together. So that's why we call it fated. Like they're on the same, let's say, page.
mhm,
Um, and so this happens. They change signs, so they're happening always on the oppositional sign. So currently, we are experiencing North Node, uh, which is North Node is in Pisces, and South Node is in Virgo. So they always go in the opposite signs, and
mhm,
they are coming every 18 years in those signs. Every 9 years, they're opposition. So like 9 years ago, we had North Node in Virgo and South Node in Pisces. So those are also important. Those also times when we are switching kind of path, or we are going, and like it's like a breaking point or midpoint, on where are we on our course, right?
mhm.
So why we call the nodes fatal? Because usually we have eclipses, right? So because when this happens, we have lunar or solar eclipses. That means the light is blocked. Either the moonlight, I mean the sun is providing the light, is it blocked by the moon or by the earth?
Mhm.
So there's like this little of disconnection, or changing of pace, or there's always a new beginning and endings. It's like kind of the light is stopping to shine on one thing and opening another. So that's why usually the major beginnings and endings, that's why we call them fatal events, because usually major events happened
Mm.
when you have your nodal reverses. You will know, is it a career change, or you give birth to a child, you get married, you meet somebody.
Mhm.
So those kind of big changes can happen. And when there is reversal, I had just reversal, because we had the north node in Aries and south node in Libra for the last year and a half. So they last around 18 months in each
Mhm.
signs combinations. And I have opposite. I have south node in Aries and north node in Libra. So I just had my reversal. So it's like in the middle of the shift. So it's kind of also giving me, okay, where do I want to go? I'm revising, and I definitely started. I want to pursue pursue my astrology career more seriously, kind of those things. So I actually asked for more time from my regular day job. So I'm still part-time, but I switched from 5 days to 4 days. So there's those kind of changes that are major changes that are happening that you really, okay, this is the course I'm going. And that's, usually it's supported by the universe energy somehow in one way or
Sure.
another.
And how did that feel for you? So when it actually happened, can you identify how it felt? I mean, you have got Moon in
Uh,
Gemini, which makes it more difficult to feel things. I've got Moon in Gemini, but yes, you can talk about it.
yes, you kind of, because I'm strong
Mm,
Gemini, I kind of made a conscious decision. Sometimes things happen like that are not that you feel that you don't have control of, but you know, I don't quite believe that. I think we even subconsciously we kind of want things to happen and we attract it, and that's why that happens, right? So
yeah.
it's really up there. So it's not like out of our control. It's just not palatable or tangible in a sense, right?
Hmm.
So I kind of like I really felt that I need to do this. That's it. Like this is now or never kind of a feeling. So like I'm gonna miss the train. Like I want to be on that train. That's the
Yes.
feeling with the notes. So that's it.
Okay, let me just grab her chart, the lady that's asked the question, and see if we can get a bit more detail about how it is for her. So what am I looking for? Her nodes. So I'm looking for the north node or the south node?
Both. They're always so the way I'm not a traditional astrologer, but I kind of understand the energy. So if even the South Node is something that you were born with, like your talents or
Yeah.
something you're very comfortable with, or without even thinking. And I know this through my practice. It's just even looking at myself how I react when we are overwhelmed. We go in our South Node so much. I become so Aries. I have nothing in Aries, but when I'm overwhelmed. And when I
Hmm.
feel like under stress, I just go, I want to punch somebody in the face. I'm just going. So we kind
Uh-huh.
of, those are the energies that we are kind of familiar with. So we are kind of, we have to use the best of those
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
to move forward. I'm not a fan of people saying this is bad karma or something that you need to work through or something that we need to get rid of to go forward. No, I feel that we need to use those talents, the best parts of us, of the South Node, the higher vibrations of that, and take that as a backpack to move forward the North Node that we need to go. Okay, so
Got it.
my independency, it's important for me. I'm not going to give it up, right? My independence, right? So I just, this is part of who I am, but I'm learning how to still be independent within the relationship. So that's, for example, my going to North Node to Libra, if that makes sense. So being in relations with others, understanding what is the relationship, what is compromise, what is, being, but still not losing myself in the process. Instead of
Mm-mm-mm.
fighting it all the time, or, I want to be, it's not, that's not the point, right? So that's kind of a thing from my experience. So this North Node in Pisces is also teaching us to let go of worry and anxiety, all this negative Virgos stuff, right? But we are taking the best of Virgo. We're taking discernment. We are taking efficiency and being reliable, right?
Yeah.
And then taking that and having faith and trust the process to move forward. So those kind of things. That's how I look at the notes.
Okay, so this lady has her north node 29 degrees Virgo, and you're saying that the nodes at the moment is in Pisces because it's retrograded, yes? Is that right?
Yes. So she said she has a North Node in Virgo, right?
Yes, that's natally.
Yes. So she has a reversal because now North Node
Oh, I see,
was
it's in Pisces in the opposite
yes,
sign. Oh, right, okay.
yes, yes. So
It's
she, it's fine. It's fine. So she has the just what I had. So she's in the middle of the process. So she's like correcting the course. Am I on the right path? What am I doing? And interesting, I have almost 29 degrees Virgo rising, 28, 46. So this is very correct
Oh,
with the
wow.
distinction. We probably know each other. So when
Yeah.
when when somebody has a node, especially south node on one of your planets or angles,
Hmm.
some kind of past life connection. So it's interesting that anyway, this is something that I call synchronicities of the
Yeah, yeah,
universe,
yeah.
right? So what is this now? Because she was born with this Virgo energy, with always trying to improve things, to perfect things. The problem with that is that maybe she can be overly criticized of herself, or just not doing things just because then it's not the right time, it's not perfect enough, and I don't want to start things. So the point of this now is the time that she needs to kind of have more faith in the process and trust
Mm.
herself that she's going to be able to do it even if it's not perfect,
Yes,
and
because
let it
she's
go.
learning astrology as well. So she's on a process of becoming an astrologer. She also has a day job and obviously can't stop the day job yet. She's still learning, so she's in a learning phase. So the south node is now in this, oh, sorry, the nodes are in the sign of Pisces at the moment, which is directly opposite her natal one, which is then urging her to, um,
What to have more, so actually spiritual studies are good because this
right.
is what that's what her north node is telling her. She needs to go, she needs to pursue it. Virgo is very practical and very tangible, very earth, and wants to have everything under control. Like that's why
Mm,
they're very organized, everything is in place, like this is
mhm.
full sense of control, right? So you
Yeah.
need to kind of let go of that and have and trust the
Whoa.
process.
You can't tell that I've got a North Node in Virgo. You can't tell me to let go. So forget that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. No, but it's good for you because it's in your north. You need to go in
Yeah.
that way. You need to be more organized, more,
Mm,
because you are born with the spiritual strength that you carry, right? Your
mm,
intuition, but she's the opposite of that, right? So she has this discernment, she has all this, being of service and being reliable and people knowing her for, so sometimes you need to let go of that. And
mm.
I as a Virgo rising always fear, what if people feel, and I'm never late. Oh my God, I always come before 10 minutes
Yes,
before.
you were
What if,
early today. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm, yeah.
I just can't be late. If or I can't do things last minute. That's very
Mm,
everything on time, And if somebody puts me in a situation that I need to go and do things last minute, I'm done. I'm stressed. I can't do it, right? I'm very anxious,
mhm,
and just don't put me in that situation, right? So this is the same thing. So she needs to kind of let go of that and just trust. Okay, what if it's not done? What
mm,
if the dishes are not done? What if you have dirty dishes overnight? What?
mm.
What's going to
Yeah,
happen?
but
Like,
Jasmine, you can't leave dishes overnight. The world will end.
I know.
Oh,
I,
I couldn't do that. I wouldn't be able to sleep if I leave dishes in the sink. I wouldn't. My husband does the washing up anyway, but I wouldn't go to bed with washing up in the sink. So no, no.
I was like that. I was like that a lot. Yes, I know. I know. I hear you. But this is what this lady is. She's now in a turning point that she needs to go more towards Pisces, more being more empathetic and high to herself.
Mm,
Having more compassion to yourself. Don't be so, Virgos can be overly harsh on themselves, being this perfect role model for everybody. And, you need to kind of, it's always about balance, also with
mm,
the, right? So
yeah.
this is kind of, I think it's a crucial turning point for her to actually really studying astrology is a great way to do it. To
Mm,
immerse yourself, finding the practical tool, which is astrology,
mm,
to connect with the spiritual world.
mm,
Perfect blend, right? So
mm,
just take the good stuff of Virgo, take the organizational skills. You will need it with astrology because it's going to be all over the place. So you're going to need to prioritize. You will need to, be discernment what is important, what is not in your studies, because you're going to be overwhelmed. You get, this when you start studying, you get overwhelmed, you get obsessive, you want to know everything right now, but you can't. You learn as long as you practice, as long as you live, you're going to learn something new every day. From every client, every person I talk to, I learn something new. That's the way astrology works. So just let go of that and just take these good things and then go towards the Piscean energy uh of of having faith and trust the process. So
yeah.
that
Well, Pisces is connecting with the divine. I mean, there's
yes.
going to be disadvantages to that as well because you'll be so connected. You're lying flat and staring at the stars and not doing anything.
I know, but I think these days we need more of that, Mary, because I think
Mm,
we're all disconnected from that. We are not staring at
mm,
the stars enough as individuals, as collective, as humans.
mm,
We are all into mundane, into everyday. We forgot how to do it. So that's why this North Node in Aries is very important. One in Pisces for all of us, especially for your listener who has this question. I think she's doing the right
mm,
thing. She just needs like this is the turning point. Like just her diving into something spiritual is
mm.
excellent. And I think she's on the right path. So
You see,
congrats.
that's why astrology is very useful for people that are on their spiritual path, because you learn about yourself, then you aren't just one, you're not just like in your case, a Gemini, me, a Pisces. It's not just that. There's loads of other things that are associated with it. And I think spirituality definitely runs through astrology. It's a
Oh yeah.
stream that runs through it. I'm very sad about Neptune coming out Pisces, though.
Because
I wanted to stay and not move.
you were feeding on it as a Pisces. I get it. I
Yeah.
know.
But
Maybe you're
everything has to come to an end, yeah. And so she says she knows it's fated and potentially is a prelude to her
Mhm.
Saturn return, which is happening next year. So she's got Saturn 4 degrees into Aries. So yeah, so she's going to have her Saturn return next year. So is it better that she's having this nodal opposition now before that?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's going to give her a sense of, what kind of responsibility she's going to have. And when she's tuning into some astrology and doing her day job, and I can witness to that, you're going to have less time to do some other stuff. So you're going to be more,
Mm,
have more responsibility, more obligations, just less time. This is what Saturn also takes away from you, your time to do leisure things, because he doesn't like leisure. So when you have a Saturn transit, and especially Saturn return, is like, as we call it, a maturity. Like
mm,
this is where we grow up astrologically. Before then, we're just kids. So now this is, her stepping into um, grown up world, and doing grown up things, paying bills, understanding that you have to do this, and get your own maybe house, or getting married, or whatever that is
mm,
situation, right? So there's like a lot of, and I feel that with this, she will need to be able to balance her work and astrology interest, and just letting go of I have to be, everything has to be perfect before I do it.
mm,
Virgos, lots of times they don't do anything. Like they have everything in their mind, but they actually don't do it, just because, oh, it's not the right time, when it's not perfect, and I can't go publicly with it.
mm,
But you have to, with astrology, you just have to dive in. This is so Piscean. Dive
mm.
in, jump, leap of faith, and then you will tweak it as you go along, and perfect it
Yeah.
as you do it.
I do find a lot of students are nervous about actually starting. I never was. I've got a Leo ascendant. I'm not nervous about anything. I literally did just that. I started doing it. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing it. And I was lucky because I had a computer program that had it written on there. Sun in this means that. And I used to literally read it from the laptop out, read it out to the client. And they were reading it as well, but they were listening. But that's how I started. And nobody complained.
That's what I'm saying. You help so many people. Because we have all this knowledge, we think that people also know that. People don't know anything. Whatever you tell them,
Yeah.
just a little piece, they're going to be so helpful.
Yeah.
And sometimes less is better than more. If you give them too much information,
Yes.
they're going to
Yes.
be all class. What does this mean? What is it? So narrow it down. Simple is
Mm,
always better, which is hard
absolutely.
for Virgos to understand.
Yeah, it is tricky for people when they first come for a consultation. Just changing the subject slightly, I had a client when I was writing the book about indigos and I was investigating indigos, and she came for a consultation, la 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 la, and her two boys, so her other two boys, not the one that was the reason for the visit, they weren't getting along. And I said, oh, I said they've got a Mars thing. There was a Mars clash. I think I can't remember if it was a conjunction or a square or something. And I said, by the way, Mars is the god of war. And that was all she remembered. I saw her 10 years later. The only thing she remembered was that Mars was the god of war. So she kept the kids separate. They had separate bedrooms. They didn't have too much time together. And if they got heated, they'd still come. But that was the one thing that she remembered. And then her boys got on fine and they grew up and everything was happy. And it's like you say, I kept it really simple. Well, Mars is the god of war. They're not going to get on. So you need to find ways so that they're not actually fighting all the time. Boof, that was it. And that one thing she remembered, Mars is the god of war.
And that's it. But that's it. So
Mm.
that's why I want to encourage this listener of yours to kind of dive into it, and don't be afraid, and just enjoy the process. It's also, we forget to enjoy the process. We're always heading somewhere. Where are we heading? This is astrology doesn't have an end. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Right?
Oh no. Yes. No, it doesn't. And it was me. What was I learned oh God, I can't remember what it's called now. The solar arcs. I had never learned about solar arcs. I didn't have enough brain space to learn about them. I had another guest on the podcast and she was talking about, no, I thought, what the hell are they? I thought it was something to do with solar returns. Nothing to do with that. And then I looked at them, it's like, oh, it's the degrees between one planet. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's when that happened, and this is when this happened. And it was
I
like,
know. I listened.
whoa.
I listened to your podcast episode on that when you talked about your sisters and how everything was aligned. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, yeah. But isn't that amazing? How that's how every
Yes.
day. And then you think, oh my God, I never thought about it before. And then you just enjoy it. But it's a
No,
journey, it's
yeah,
ending. So
I don't think there is an end point in astrology. That's what's so lovely about it. There's always going to be something, and you're going to be very curious. You know, that double Gemini energy. You're going to constantly ask the question, why?
oh my God. That's why I go into rabbit holes. And then I have to stop myself. That's why I use my Virgo. Okay, that's
Mm,
enough. That's enough. You have
mhm.
to kind of when we talk about Saturn, because she's going to Saturn return,
Yeah.
Saturn is about mastering things. So he doesn't want us to rush. So you need to
Mhm,
take time and make sure that you master and do the hard work. That's what I feel. When I was younger, I didn't know astrology as much as I know now, and I didn't listen to my Saturn what he was telling me. But now I had a square because I'm Gemini. I had square sparing my moon and my sun last couple of years, and I just did the work, and I didn't expect any rewards. Just do the work, and that's it. And then eventually he will reward you when he's done. But during that period, it feels very hard because you think I'm doing, and there's nothing. Why I don't, why is nobody noticing me? And you feel like you're not good enough. You're not,
mhm,
whatever. But this the only piece of advice for all the Saturn stuff is you need to go push through. Don't give up. Don't take shortcuts. He
mm,
doesn't like it. Just don't do it, and it will be rewarded. I had clients that if they did the first return good, the
mhm.
second set return was a piece of cake. They enjoyed it. Like
Yeah.
they reaped the reward. So that's another thing, right? So
Yeah,
it's
I've
interesting.
had two that but they were never a problem. But then my natal Saturn's in Capricorn anyway, so
Oh yeah, you have a
I didn't
yeah,
even notice my first one because
good.
I'm all right with Saturn. Okay, so my other question then is, so how long do they take to make a return?
So it's good. So she's gonna in the 9 years time, she's gonna have them properly returned. So they go they every 18 years. So probably she had first when she was 18. So when she's gonna be
Right.
36, it's gonna be the second one. And these
Hmm.
were in between. So we have nine, and
Hmm.
then 25. She's like,
Hmm.
oh whatever. I don't know how much is 18, 19 plus 9,
Hmm.
27, 8. And then that's how you go. So 18, 36, and then plus 18. Those are the real ones. And
So
then
the
if you,
full return is
yes,
at 18, yes?
yes, and then
So
36. Yeah, so she's
right.
going to have
Then you have
36
the
and
halfway, the opposition, which is half of 18, which is 9. Is that what you're saying?
yes,
Got
yes,
it.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So
That's
this
an
this is
interesting cycle then. So 18 plus 9 is 30. 18
no,
plus 9.
it's 27. So that's
27, yeah.
so it comes with the progressed lunar return as well. So she probably has a progressed lunar return as well. Usually it comes before Saturn return. So she probably has
Right.
that as well. So this is it's interesting because those are the lunar nodes, and then the progressed moon comes to the same place. So that's also a shift. Like we are
Mm.
literally shifting and looking where are we coming and what do we need to change? What is the change of course, change of directions? Where are we going? Kind of a little like a tilt, right?
Mhm,
That's what I feel. That's what it is. Like a
mhm. That's very helpful. Thank you, Jasmina, for clarifying that for me because it's not something. I mean, I know about the North Node and the South Node, but it never sort of occurred to me to think about when they would return. I hadn't even checked it or looked it up. So how ignorant am I? There we go. But
no, no, no.
yeah,
But look back when you had your because you're Pisces first of all. You're
yeah.
and you have a Pisces North Node. Okay, so
No, no, no.
no, no, the
I've got
South
a
Node.
Virgo North Node. I've got a
Yeah,
Pisces
yeah.
South Node.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. It's even better. So you have South Node in Pisces and a Sun in Pisces. So you are kind of going with the flow anyway. You don't
Mm,
check the facts. It's just natural that you go with that flow and that you're probably your nodal return is something just you just feel it. Just go through it. You
mm,
swim through it
mm.
because you have
Yeah,
such.
okay, because it's the same as the sun sign. Yeah, and Mercury. I've got Mercury
There you
retrograde
go.
in Pisces as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Mm,
it's lots of inward in like a it's, you know how Pisces energy is, the best, right? So you kind of you're not factual. Like this lady noticed because so she has South Node in Virgo, so she's very factual, very so she wants to know the facts. For you, it was just flowing through it,
yes,
like
this lady's,
yeah,
I think she's a Libra. I've forgotten. So, beg your pardon, she's an Aquarius. She's
it's
an
okay,
Aquarius with a Leo ascendant. Yeah, so an Aquarius it wants to always find out what's new and unusual and different.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're also about their mind and to find I think they're always looking for opinion. Like
Mm,
what they want to have opinion on everything, so they need to know to have an opinion. I think that's what drives them.
mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm. Yeah, I've got a family full of Aquarians. I mean, no shortage of them. My mum and two sisters, and my auntie and my ex-mother-in-law are Aquarians. So I
Oh
grew up
my God.
surrounded by them. So they're fine. I love Aquarians. I think they're great. Um, okay, so we've done nodal oppositions, we've done nodal return, we've done a little bit of Saturn return. So tell me about a little bit more about your practice because you've not been on the podcast before, and the listeners always want
Oh,
to hear about people and how they got into things. So just take me back a little bit in time to when you first got into astrology. You were quite young.
yeah, I was very young. Yes, I was preteens, preteens. So first, the context. You have to kind of know that I was raised in Croatia. It was ex-Yugoslavia back in the day. But Croatia is itself is very Catholic. Okay,
Okay.
so astrology was not something you would go in the library and find a book, especially not in Croatian. You couldn't find it. So there was nothing. But late 80s, in late 1980s, there was like a little booklets in the store. You could buy sun signs. And I was like, and my dad told me, oh, you're a Gemini. I'm like, what does that mean? Of course, it's a Gemini. What does that
Mm.
mean? I'm a Gemini. So I would buy a booklet of Gemini and then all my family members, Cancer, Pisces, Capricorn, Gemini. And I would read all about those four signs and I knew kind of thing. And then around it, I think it was my Jupiter return, my first 11, 12 years old.
Mm.
Uh, and they started to synthesize, I don't know how it was, I think after the Berlin Wall fell and kind of it was all before the war and it was kind of mushy situation, but we were more open to things. So they were issuing, it was called Astro Magazine.
Okay.
It came out once a month and my allowance, I would just go and then because it was before internet, before computer,
Mm.
in 88, 89,
Mm.
and I would buy this every month and then you would have tables how to calculate, when you were born, what is your ascendant, what is your Mercury. And I would wait each month to see it. And I was putting it all together for all my family members and myself, like month by month. And then I would
Wow.
realize I'm a Virgo rising. Next month, I would realize I have Venus in Cancer. Then, so it was like a 2 years journey. I never
Mm.
saw my chart. Like
Mm.
first time I saw my chart, I was in late teens. I was very probably in university already. Like it was
Mm.
90, I don't know, 99 or 2000. I don't know. When I saw my chart, like in a circle. Oh,
Mm.
so before that, I was just like that. So that was like kind of interesting thing. And I was always knew everybody's birthday and sun
Mm.
signs, and I was always aware. And I kind of understood them. Like I felt that, oh, if I know if you, I know sun is not enough, but I felt
Mm.
that I understand. Even that,
You
if
can
you
get a lot from sun sign
yes,
astrology.
yeah,
I've been a sun sign astrologer for a long, long time. There's a hell of a lot that you can determine
yes,
from a person by just knowing their sun sign for sure.
yeah.
Mm.
And it was kind of leading me, I knew that, when I met my first husband, for example, he was a Cancer. And I knew he's, what Cancer's kind of family is, because my brother was a Cancer, my mom was a Cancer.
Mm.
So I kind
Mm.
of understood that energy. So that
Mm.
was that was something. And then, of course, later when computers came in, I started exploring a little bit. I had a friend and she was more into Vedic. So she kind of pulled me a little bit on Vedic. I took some, there was some workshops, blah, blah, blah. But then life, and I was young and I wanted to have fun and there's a bunch of stuff. Um, but it was always there. Like I'm
Mm.
always looking. When were you born? Putting data. Do you know your time? I would put boys, friends, whoever gave me the data, I would just put them. And I had like a little booklet with all the
Oh wow, you
whoever.
did what my auntie did. She was a Gemini.
Oh,
She did all that. I got her ephemeris after she died, and that's
yeah,
got my time of birth in. But she was very interested in it, and she didn't do charts. She did Sun this, Moon that, Venus the other. She wrote them down, but she didn't construct charts. I don't think she had the well, not the software, but she didn't have the ability to calculate it to draw it as a
yeah,
circle. Yeah.
yeah, back in the day, right? So it
Yes.
wasn't like that, right?
Yeah.
And then I think in my 30s, after my Saturn return, I got divorced. I got married, was divorced, and then I kind of have more time to be on my own, and I started looking into astrology and just exploring more. But really, what really hit me was Uranus opposition. Uranus. When they say midlife crisis, that's when it
Mm.
hit. And it's now or never. And I was on my maternity leave, and Steve was my astrologer. I consulted him for years before, and then he had his courses. I said, I'm now or never. I'm going deeper. I read books before. I got some books I was reading, but it was all somewhere, and I said, okay, I'm going to take this seriously. I'm starting from beginning. I'm going to take these courses. I'm going to, and then it kind of came naturally. And then I found Matt and I took his course, and then kind of, you know what, I need to start actually doing this. I want to help people with this. And
Mhm.
that's how I started, like, you know, 4 5 years ago.
Mm. And did you
Uh,
have kids?
I have one kid. He's
Mhm,
almost 5. I have a supportive husband, thank God. And
mhm.
then they're both helping me with finding the time to do this.
And I
You
presume
know,
you've done your child's chart.
yes. And to be honest, Mary, if I didn't know astrology, I would be a very frustrated mother because my kid has a Scorpio moon.
Oh,
Okay.
totally different to yours.
Yes.
Mm,
So imagine you as Gemini moon,
mm.
everything that happens to me, I need to tell it. Like if I
Yeah.
don't say it, it didn't happen. Is it,
Yes.
is it good or
Not moon
bad?
in Scorpio, though.
Not with Scorpio. So he comes from daycare.
Yeah.
I see he's upset. And what happened? I don't want to talk about it. Mommy, stop talking. But I know. So now I just hug him and kiss him.
Mhm,
And when he's ready, he comes and tells me in his own time what he wants to tell me. And
mm.
number one thing, I know I cannot break his trust. So if I
No.
promise something, I need to deliver. And I want him to know that he can trust me. And that's number one. And this is what I nourish. And that's why I don't
Mhm.
push and I don't push. But if I didn't know astrology, I would be so frustrated. I would think, why doesn't my kid want to talk to me? What did I do? What kind of parent am I? I would go
Yes.
in the rabbit hole. So
Mm.
that's why, even my friends that have babies, even if they don't want a reading, I just tell them quickly what their kid's moon is and what are their emotional needs. And when I go and give them, you have a new kid,
Yeah.
your kid has this moon. Pay attention to this, and just put them in a card. I put a
Mm.
few words. This is my gift to you. Use it or not use it. I feel obligated to tell you, and I think it's very helpful.
Oh,
With the
definitely
type. Yeah.
knowing your child's moon sign is very, very important. I'd just given birth when I started getting into astrology seriously. So I was in my early 30s and I'd given birth a couple of years before that. And then well, I discovered my chart first and then I discovered his. And that was the what's the word? The fuel to make me want to do it even more because of the differences that I saw in understand. Because that was when I discovered about indigo charts and one-sided charts, and I wrote a book about it and all the rest of it. But the thing was, in understanding his chart and his peer group at school, they all had these one-sided charts. But discovering moon signs and sun signs and all the rest of it, and how, because I was also a therapist as well, how you can help a person if they understand their child's chart a teeny bit, like you say. If they understand the moon, then the moon is how they want to be mothered. It's not the mother they've got, it's how they want to be mothered is very, very important. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That's very
Okay. So it's interesting you said about Croatia and Catholicism because I was brought up in a Catholic family.
in as well. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and there's not many Catholics in the UK. So my mother was a convert, but my father's family had always been Catholic, and they originated in Bath, which is where I live now. Um,
Mm,
but it was very strict. So that's why there wasn't any astrology in our family, except for my auntie, who was also Catholic. She was a Gemini. She was very, very interested in it, but kept it sort of quiet because, I don't know what I don't think the Bible says anything about it actually, but whatever. But there wasn't something that would be discussed. So that's why I was never encouraged, even though she told me what sign of the zodiac I was. And she said, I misheard her and thought she said that she'd said I got Gemini in my first house. I completely misheard her. What she'd said was I got Moon in Gemini, but I'd heard about houses and she'd said this house and that house, and I got it all wrong. It was years later that I discovered, no, I've got Moon in Gemini,
yeah. And you
not in
need
the
to study
first
your
house.
moon. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it really has. And she was a Gemini as well, so we had a very nice relationship. She's a nice person. Do you feel that astrology has opened up a totally new dimension for you?
Absolutely. Like it was always kind of part of me. I kind of feel that I maybe in previous lives or whatever, I felt this is. I never questioned it. So I wasn't a skeptic. I didn't come from the skeptical side. I never questioned it. I always felt this is. I don't know why it works, but it works. That was
Mm,
my, so I never was on that. I always felt that there's something more, and I was because I have Sun and Moon and Mercury all in Gemini in the ninth house. So
right.
my beliefs and stuff, I was always questioning, and I wasn't brought strict. There was Catholicism, I
Hmm.
was Baptist and stuff, but it wasn't very strict. Uh, but still it was out there, and I was questioning it during my teens. I would go to to confessions. I would do this, and I didn't understand why I need to go to some person to tell them my deepest, darkest secrets. Like I never understood that part. Like, why can't I just talk to God myself? Like, just
Mm,
like, as a kid, like I never
mm,
understood why you have to have this person. Anyway,
mm.
it was just I questioned a lot of methodology of how the religion is practiced. Like I didn't
Mm.
understand, and constant guilt. Oh my God, the guilt who is guilty. Always somebody needs to be guilty. Somebody needs to be like,
Oh, that's very Catholic, guilty.
yes,
Yeah. Mm.
yeah. So
Yes.
I questioned, why do we have to feel this guilt? Like I understand humility and having compassion and love for people, but then why this guilt if it's and so I didn't like some of my confessions. I didn't like, so I kind of stopped doing them
Hmm.
after. To be honest, a priest, I want to be honest on the air, but the priest asked me, do I touch myself? And I was like, okay, I'm not coming back.
Oh my goodness.
You do all you do confession, you do this
And then
and
the
then
priest asked you that?
yeah, yeah. Like,
Whoa.
did you say I was 15? Did you say everything? I said yes, and then do you anyway. So I kind of like, okay, I don't want to do this. I didn't feel comfortable, and I just felt, that this is. And remember, South Node in Aries. I'm
Mm.
not, I'm not going there. And then later, I kind of again, when I got divorced, I also was depressed, and then I went again to the priest after so many years.
Mhm.
And of course, you need to wait for your husband to come back. You're not supposed to do anything. I'm like, what the like, I just like, what am I putting my life anyway? So I just didn't feel this is connected with the divinity and God, and I didn't.
No.
God wants us to suffer. I just don't feel
Mm.
that God wants us to suffer. So that's kind of, I lean more always to another ways of understanding and questioning. I'm still open to if somebody has something to tell me, that I'm open to hear, to question my beliefs and to see if I'm wrong or not. So far, astrology has proven to work the best in the way that it's good intentions and helping people and encouraging them, empowering them, not putting them down, not putting them to feel bad or something. So
Mm.
that's for my nine house Gemini. It's important that you
Yes,
know
and you need to have the philosophy of it because the ninth house is about philosophy and teaching and learning. And you said you went to university. If you don't mind me asking, what did you
Yeah, yeah,
study at
yes, yes.
university?
Oh, yes, I finished. I have a master's in accounting. Because my mom was an
Wow.
accountant and bookkeeper, so I kind of went this way. It didn't
Hmm.
go well. I wanted to be a hotel manager. I wanted to be a tourist guide. I wanted to be a radio host, like all this Gemini stuff.
Mm.
But I had Pluto opposing my moon and Mercury at the time when I finished high school, and everything I tried, and Pluto was in my third house, opposing my ninth house, Moon and Mercury, and just didn't go through anything that I wanted to study. It didn't go. And then I ended up doing accounting just because my mom was a bookkeeper and I went her steps.
Mm.
So
But you must
uh,
have a capacity for learning because having a master's is a higher academic
yes,
level. So your learning ability is good. If nothing else, at least you learned how to learn, even if you don't use that qualification.
uh,
So yeah.
yes, but also had a good teacher. If I had to learn from
Ah.
books only,
Hmm.
if a good teacher, I could just learn by listening. I didn't have to, in my notes. That's it. I didn't have to touch the book. But if the teacher was bad, forget
Mm.
it. I was never a straight A student, to be honest. I had,
Mm.
I had from C's to A's to D's, whatever. I had all kinds of marks depending of the subject and the teacher. Teacher is very
Mm.
important for me. Of course, nine
Mm.
house stellium, who teaches
Yes.
you, it's so important to me. That's why I go, even for astrology, I go to people who I feel that I'm connected to, they can teach me, so that's very important.
Mm.
Very
Mm.
interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And okay, so just give me one last question. So, if you were giving some advice to my listeners, and so these are people that are beginning astrology that at some point would like to, not all of them, but some of them want to practice, what advice would you give to a beginner?
Uh, you're never going to be ready, so just as well start doing it. If you don't, I know that the most frightful thing is to charge for something you're not sure, right? So that's I think number one problem. How can I charge for some service or something that I'm offering if I'm not sure I'm giving the right thing? Do it for pay as you want. That's how I started. Or just, many people just gave me referrals. I gave them a reading, they gave me a referral. So you need to, has to be an energy exchange.
Oh,
So
yes.
just tell them to buy me a drink, I'll read you 10 minutes. And then you will get courage. You will get this courage, self-confidence, because you will get feedback from these people. Very touchy with friends. I know it always starts with friends and family, but it can be very touchy. So I wouldn't recommend that. The only reason why is because they can be more judgmental of, what are you doing, what are you telling me, and then you already have opinion on them.
Yeah.
So I think for family, you need to be more adverse and more experienced to actually read the chart of your family. That's what I find, because in the beginning you kind of have your opinion, so you can infiltrate with your reading, and you can be sometimes objective. So just go, friend from a friend goes, if you're at a party or somewhere, or in some kind of, you just tell people. Don't be ashamed to say I'm an astrologer. That's also something that kind of go through and say, oh yes, I'm an astrologer. I do. So what does that mean? People say, what does that mean? What do you do? Are you a fortune teller? You said, no, I'm just. And then you start saying, look, for example, where were you born? And then you can tell them, just simple thing about their sun or moon or whatever. Look at the family. And then they say, oh, really? And then that's how you will get validation and more encouragement. And then you can start charging less, and then more and more as you get. But that's how I would do it. But you need to start talking about it and doing charts, because that's the only way you're never gonna be ready.
No.
Never. I'm still not ready, to be honest.
You're doing very well for somebody who's not ready.
Right? So
Yeah.
so so that's one of the things, and always, you're gonna feel, oh, I should have said this, I should have said that. Forget about it. You know what my mantra is, Mary? Because Virgo, I want to perfect the reading. Like before every reading, I said, okay, whatever is there, universe, give me just give me give me the strength to tell this person what they need to hear today from me, and that's it. And whatever and always think, this person came to me at this time and in timeline, this time of history, to hear this from me. Whatever I say, they need to hear it from me today, and that's it. And I have to trust that this is going to be the right information for them at that point.
That's a lovely mantra.
I had to. I was going crazy in the beginning, Mary. I was, oh my God, I missed this. I should have said this. Oh my God, I didn't mention the progressed moon, like the moon or something. Like, who cares? They need to hear something. As you say, Mars is a war, is a God war. This is the only thing she heard, but that's a great example. So you can talk about, if you could waste your energy, talk about so many different things, it wouldn't matter anyway, right? So listen, and it's important to listen to the client, what they want to hear, like what is the problem. So listening skills. This is what astrology gave me. I started such a listener before. So listen and just have faith that you're going to say the right word, what they need to hear, and that's it.
Oh, that's lovely, Jasmina. Thank you very much for being with us today. Now, the website address for them to find you is Jasmina Brozovic astrology.com. So that's spelled Brozovic and then astrology.com. But I'll put the links to everything on the show notes on YouTube and on the podcast. And thank you so much. And I'm sure the lovely lady that's asked the questions should be very excited to hear the answers that you've given her. Thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. And thank you very much for speaking to me for totally different Canada. I haven't spoken to anybody in Canada. One lady I've spoken to in Canada on the podcast. Yeah. But it's lovely. It's right the other side of the world you are.
Yes, well, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much, Mary. I love your work. I love what you do. Your astro charts. We talked about astro chart shapes. Because of your talk, I'm now implementing it in my work as well. So thanks to you, I started implementing that, because nobody taught me that before, from all these teachers, for example. See, so there's always something you can learn.
Oh, so super. Thank you, darling. Okay, catch you soon. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
So thank you very much, Jasmina, for being with us today. I'll just give you where to find her. So the website address is jasminabrozovic.astrology.com, and Brozovic is how we're spelling Brozovic. She's on YouTube, Jasmina Brozovic Astrology. Instagram, Jasmina Brozovic Astrology. She's Facebook, Jasmina Astrology. X, she's on Jasmine Astrology. And Thread, she's Jasmina Brozovic Astrology. So that's Brozovic Astrology. You'll get it. I've put the links on the show notes as well. So thanks very much, Jasmina, for being with us today. I also want to point out I've had some replies to episode 431, and I can't put it into this episode, but it will be coming up in 2 episodes time, because I think I've got my next episode sorted out. But I just want to say thank you very much to Imogen, who has written in and got the chart completely correct by about a few minutes. She got the location and the date of birth, so she reverse engineered the chart. But I want to give more time to that in a future episode. But just say thank you very much, Imogen, for sending in your interpretation, which was wonderful, and also reverse engineering the chart. And I'll be back next week. So hope you have a fab week. Bye bye now.